Hi, friends. I'm Rebecca, and thank you for joining me for this Find Your Voice Vinyasa flow. This practice will energize you and help you to stand in your strength and hopefully find your voice. If you like to play music in your space, I invite you to play something energetic for this class. If you like to use props, you might want to bring a couple of blocks. So take just a moment, gather what you need, and I'll see you on the mat.
We are going to start tonight in child's pose. So you can choose whether you like to take your child's pose with your knees wide or your knees close together. And just find your way into your child's pose. And feel free to invite in some natural movement here if maybe cozying down into your child's pose feels good. And just a reminder, there are lots of expressions of where you put your arms here, either reaching way out front or reaching back to the sides, or even putting your palms stacked underneath one another, underneath your forehead. Now, whichever variation you've chosen here, just begin to lengthen and deepen your breath. Taking these first few moments at the beginning of class just to settle in, settle down from whatever you have you're carrying around in your mind, or maybe whatever you've arrived on your mat with from your day. And now on your next inhale, just allow yourself to ride up the breath, bringing yourself into a tabletop, bringing your wrists underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. And then as you continue your nice, slow, deep breaths, just allow your belly to sink down as you inhale. And exhale, turning the tailbone under, pressing into the mat. Coming through this cat-cow motion, just waking up the spine. And as you come into your cow shape on your inhale, allow the chin to raise just slightly. It's not necessary here to crunch those little bones in the back of the neck, but just bring a little stretch, a little openness into the front of the throat. And allow that to come to stillness, coming back to our neutral tabletop position. And then walking those hands, a couple of handprints out in front, rolling the toes under in the back, and shifting the hips up, coming to downward facing dog. Remembering to keep those knees nice and bent, just starting out now, just warming up. And you can walk your dog here if you like, pedaling out through your heels or finding any other natural movement that is an expression of your unique voice here in your yoga practice. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale up to both toes. Exhale as we bend the knees, shifting the gaze forward and walking the feet up to the hands. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, coming into our first forward fold. So again, knees can be plenty bent here. Seeing if you can allow your belly to drape over the tops of your thighs. Inhale to rise up halfway. Exhale as we surrender into our forward fold. And then inhale up to stand with a flat back. Hands come to meet overhead. And come down to heart center. You can make any adjustments you need to make here for yourself on your mat. We're headed into a couple of sun salutations. So inhaling the arms up overhead will allow the fingers to interlace, the pointer fingers to point up towards the ceiling, coming into temple fingers here. And sandwiching the ears in between the biceps, we'll take a nice big inhale. And then as we're exhaling, into a small back bend here. Once again, just very gently allowing the chin to rise towards the ceiling. Inhale to come back up straight. Exhale, hands come down through heart center, coming into forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale to forward fold. And then step both feet back into your plank or half plank. Nice big inhale here. And then as we're exhaling, lowering slowly down to the mat. Tops of the feet come to the floor. Coming into our baby cobra here. So inhaling as we pull back against the hands, using the back muscles to rise up. Exhale, release. Inhale back up to plank or half plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Bending the knees deeply, shifting the gaze forward, walk or hop to the top of the mat. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, surrender into your fold. Inhaling all the way up to stand. Hands come to meet overhead. Once again, coming to those temple fingers, sandwiching the ears between the biceps. Exhale, tiny little back bend. Keeping that little micro bend in the knees. Inhale to come back upright. Exhale, hands come down through heart center, all the way down, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Planting your hands, stepping back to your plank or half plank once again. Pulling that belly button into the spine. If you're in a full plank, rolling forward on the toes slightly, holding the elbows into the sides of the body, lowering down slowly. Tops of the feet come to the floor. Inhale up, baby cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale back up to plank or half plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Shifting the gaze forward, pop or walk to the top of your mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, release. And inhale all the way up to stand. Hands coming to heart center this time. Take just a moment here just to receive. Maybe once again bringing that feeling of softness, openness into your throat. Allowing the chin to be slightly raised, knees maintaining that little micro bend. And from here, we'll inhale the arms up overhead and exhale as we sit back into a chair pose. Once again, trying to keep the chin up slightly here, allowing the throat to be open. Inhaling as we reach the fingertips way up high. Exhale, we'll press the air away, allowing the hands to come out behind. Inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, press the air away. Inhale, arms come overhead. And this time, if you like, as you're pressing that air away, you can come up on the toes. Inhale, heels down if you like. Exhale, rocking up on the toes. Twice more like this. Inhale, arms up. Moving with your own breath. Exhale, pressing the air away. Last one. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, press the air away. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. Nice big deep breath. Exhale, hands come to heart center, sitting back into your chair. Inhaling here, and as you're exhaling, you can take that left elbow to the outside of the right knee, or if you like, taking one hand to the knee and the other to the hip for a more gentle twist. Holding it here, 3 breaths. Last breath. Inhale to come back to center, staying nice and low here. Nice big deep breath. Exhale, hooking the other elbow to the outside of the knee, coming to a twist of your choice on the other side. 3 breaths. Inhaling back to center. As we exhale, we'll come up on the toes, hands reaching out back, holding here. 3 breaths. You can count your own breaths, welcoming that little sweat, that little tremble, maybe lifting the chin slightly. And then bringing the hands back to heart center. On an exhale, we'll tip over, coming back into our forward fold. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, surrendering into this fold. Keeping the knees just as bent as you need to allow the belly to rest on the thighs. And then planting both hands, we'll step our feet back, coming into downward facing dog. Taking 3 breaths here, or if you need to, you can always come to a child's pose. Last breath. And now taking the big toes to touch. On an inhale, we'll allow the left leg to float up from the floor. And then exhaling, bring the left knee in between the hands for a low lunge. As you're exhaling, see if you can lift your throat forward slightly, allowing your chest to shine forward. And then allowing that right knee to come down to the floor. Right top of the foot comes to the floor also. Inhaling the arms up overhead. Nice big deep breath here. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Rolling the toes under and the back. We'll inhale up to a high lunge. Exhale, tilting forward, reaching the fingertips back. High lunge, arms reaching back. Inhale, arms come up overhead. And then pivoting on that back foot, we'll open up into a warrior 2. So take a moment here to find yourself in your warrior 2, bringing your gaze over your front fingertips, dropping the back hand. Now we'll reach that front arm up and back, continuing to bend into the front knee, reverse warrior. And then windmilling the hands back around to frame the foot. We'll come back into our lunge, stepping back, finding our way to downward facing dog. And if you like here, you can stay in your downward facing dog, or you can take a vinyasa if you like. If your back is ready for it, you can scoop up into an upward facing dog. Once again, opening the front of the throat here. Exhale back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths here in our down dog. And now taking those big toes to touch, we'll inhale the right heel up. Exhale, right foot comes in between the hands, coming into a lunge on this side. Exhaling, shining that chest forward, opening the throat. And then dropping that back left knee to the mat this time. We'll inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, hands come to heart center, rolling the toes under in the back. Exhaling as we come into a high lunge, lifting the knee. Big deep breath. And then exhale, coming forward, fingertips reaching back, coming into a high lunge, arms reaching back, keeping that knee stacked over the ankle. Inhaling, arms up. And then pivoting on the back foot, opening up, warrior 2. Readjust your stance or make any adjustments you need here. Warrior 2, pressing out into the outer edges of the feet. And then dropping that back hand, scooping the air up with the front fingertips coming up and back. Reverse warrior. Nice big inhale here. And on an exhale, windmilling the arms around, coming back to frame that foot, stepping back, downward facing dog, choosing to stay here or come through your vinyasa. And coming back to down dog. 3 breaths here, or take a child's pose if you'd like. And then bending both knees, shifting the gaze forward. You can walk or hop to the top of your mat. Inhaling up halfway, exhale, forward fold, and inhale all the way up to stand. Hands come to heart center. Make any adjustments that you need to make. If you like, you can stay here at the top of your mat, or you can come to the center of your mat. And just tuning in with your foundation here, allowing the toes to be nice and wide, maybe lifting all of the toes, and then setting down the big toe, the little toes, allowing the middle toes to remain lifted, and then allowing the middle toes to come down to the mat, really feeling that place where the toe meets the foot, pressing that into the mat for a nice firm foundation here. So from here, we're going to come into a one-legged mountain. Just really firm down into your right leg and allow your left knee to rise from the floor. Keeping the knee slightly bent here, find a focal point. And if you have a wall or the back of a piece of furniture in your space, you can always hold on to that for balance. No need to struggle here. And then if you're able, you can reach the hand down and grasp the ankle, pulling back and to the side. Like I said, feel free to use a wall or whatever you have in your space. Sometimes even just allowing your fingers to hover over the surface of that. And from here, we're going to come into our tree pose. So you can, if you wish, place your foot on the upper inside of your thigh and allow yourself to come into tree pose this way, or allow the foot to come down to the calf, remaining anywhere except on the knee. And here you can do anything you like with your hands. Nice firm foundation, finding the breath. And then when you're ready, allowing this to release, the lifted leg comes back into one-legged mountain and then relaxes down to the floor. You can shake the legs out here. And then we'll take this to the other side. Once again, starting with that foundation. Nice wide toes, nice broad base to the foot here. Hands come to heart center. This time, allowing the other leg to come up from the floor. Bringing that, allowing the foot to be flexed. Knee parallel to the floor. And then maybe you reach down and grasp the ankle, pulling the belly button into the spine, lifting the pelvic floor muscle, firming down through the leg. And then finding your tree pose from here. Perhaps pressing the sole of the foot into the thigh into the sole of the foot, or maybe even allowing your toes to come down to the floor, whatever your tree is. And then when you're ready, bringing that leg back to one-legged mountain and slowly release to the floor with control, shaking out through the legs if you like. And if you came to the center of your mat, you might take a little journey back up to the top of your mat now. And we're going to allow the fingertips to remain on the floor as we walk the feet out to the wide edge of the mat. You can allow your toes to spill off the mat here slightly if you like. And if you have a block handy and you like that to support your practice for your yogi squat or garland pose, you can bring that under your tailbone now. Inhaling to make the back nice and long and straight. We'll exhale, sinking the hips down, bringing the elbows to the insides of the knees, pressing the elbows into the knees and the knees into the elbows. Another way to make this pose more accessible is to bring a folded blanket underneath your heels. So do what you need to do here to make this pose as accessible in your body as possible. You can even use a chair, just allowing the elbows to come to the insides of the spread knees from a chair. Now from your garland pose, just allow yourself to gently draw up the front of the neck, not necessarily throwing the head back, but making the front of the neck long, bringing that sense of softness and openness into the hips and into the throat. And now allowing yourself to bow your head. We'll bring the hands down to the mat. And if you have crow in your practice, you can play with that a little bit here. If not, maybe just plant the hands here in front of the face, rolling onto the palms, nice big spread wide fingers, and just practice pulling the knees up the back of the arms, rolling onto the hands as you press into the floor. Building that strength in the shoulders, maybe rolling back, maybe coming to a seat, or maybe playing once more with crow pose. And then when you've played all you want to play today, just bring one hand behind, one hand in front, and allow yourself to come back to Dandasana at the back of your mat. Toes pointing back towards the face, palms or fists pressing into the floor. And allow this to be a very active Dandasana. So really extending out through the heels here. Pulling those toes back towards the face, maybe feeling that little tremble and shake in your legs. Good. We'll bring one leg in, pulling that leg close into the chest. Again, sitting up nice and tall here, allowing the chin to rise just slightly, like you're feeling very proud. And then bringing this leg over the other. If you like, you can keep it on this side if you prefer that. Wrapping one arm around the leg, allowing the other arm to come along behind, coming into a twist. And exhale to release, allowing that leg to extend out long next to the other, and then pulling the other knee into the chest, sitting up nice and tall, opening through the front of the throat, and bringing that leg over top if you like, wrapping the arm around and exhaling, allowing the fingers to swim around behind. Remembering to continue to pay attention to flexing the foot of the extended leg. And exhale to release, allowing the legs to unwind. We're going to bring those legs over to the side as we come back into a tabletop. If you have a block handy, you might bring that with you. And we're going to allow the toes to remain turned under here as we come up on the knees, setting up for some Ustrasana or camel pose. So if you do have that block handy and you'd like to place that on the back of your heels, you can do that. And so from here, inhaling the arms up overhead. First, we'll exhale, bringing the hands around to the top of the buttocks, the base of the spine here. And then just pressing down gently. Allow the chin to rise up towards the ceiling, really pulling those elbows back towards each other. Inhale to come back upright. And you're welcome to continue to take that gentle variation of camel pose here. Or if you'd like, you can inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, allowing the fingertips to sweep back, reaching for the block or for your heels. And opening the chin slightly towards the ceiling here. No need to really throw that head back. Just allow the front of the neck to remain open. One more breath here. And inhale to rise up, allowing that to release. Tops of the feet come to the floor, lowering back very slowly and finding whatever version of child's pose suits you here. Either hands out in front or out behind, knees wide or knees close together. A nice counter stretch for that big back bend. And then when you're ready, you can rise up slightly out of your child's pose, shifting the feet to one side, coming back onto your back. And we'll bring the knees into the chest, rolling out from one side and then the other. And allow those big toes to touch, reaching through the knees here, grasping the big toes or the outsides of the feet, coming into a happy baby. Maybe finding a little movement here. And if there's any other shape that you would like to take here at the end of the practice, maybe something different from happy baby, take just a moment here to take whatever last pose you need to take. And then when you're ready, bring whatever last pose you've chosen to a close. And using your hands to assist yourself, support yourself, gently come into your Shavasana. And here in your Shavasana, really snuggle the shoulders up underneath the back. Maybe allow the chin to rise up toward the ceiling a little more than usual, if that feels comfortable, just opening the front of the throat. And as you're breathing, perhaps bring a little focus, a little awareness to that little hollow at the base of your throat. And see if you can explore this space from the inside. Feel the air rush by as you inhale and exhale. Maybe feeling the coolness as you inhale and the warmth as you exhale. Allow yourself to take a deep breath, wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe stretch yourself out nice and long. And then gently roll to one side. Come back up to a seated position when you're ready. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice tonight. May you have found some energy, some empowerment, and maybe found your voice. And let your yoga follow you off the mat.